Power dynamics are rarely about who's got the loudest voice. Most of the time, they're completely silent. They're governed by these subtle emotional signals we're all sending out without even knowing it. So let's break down how this silent game is really played. The thing is, we often give away our power in these tiny little moments through the small cracks in our composure. Machiavelli knew this hundreds of years ago. What you reveal without saying a single word is often the very thing that takes you down. So you got to ask yourself that, right? What signals are you sending out? Are you broadcasting your next move, your deepest insecurities, your needs? Because if you are, trust me, people are reading you like a book. And this is what we're going to call the silent surrender. It's not about some big dramatic betrayal. It's about the tiny emotional cracks in your expression that give the whole game away. Okay, and this is a really, really important point. The goal here isn't to become some kind of robot. Machiavelli wasn't telling you to kill your feelings. He was telling you to control their broadcast. The point isn't to become an emotional void, but to become a fortress. You and only you decide what gets out. So, to become unreadable, we first have to find the leaks. And the first one, probably the most common one, is eagerness, or in Hindi, bakari. It's that feeling of restless need, and it is absolute poison to your perceived power. Let's be super clear here. This is not about being enthusiastic or being a hard worker. That's great. Eagerness is different. It's a frantic signal that screams, I need something from you. And the second you broadcast that need, you just hand the other person the psychological high ground. You've told them they have something you desperately want. You've seen this a million times, right? In job interviews, negotiations, even on a date. It's that impulse to fill every second of silence, to overcompliment someone, to try and prove your worth before anyone even asks. And in that attempt to show how valuable you are, you actually just prove your weakness. So what's the fix? Well, it's almost ridiculously simple. Just slow down. Not your thoughts, but the expression of them. Pause for a second before you answer. Let that silence just hang in the air for a beat. Let them rush to fill it. In any room, the person who seems the least eager is always perceived as the one who's most in control. Okay, let's talk about the second leak. And this one is tricky. It's maybe the most toxic of them all because it hides behind a positive mask. We're calling it conflicted admiration, a kind of mixed respect or milajula saman. This is that weird feeling when you admire someone, but you also kind of resent them for having what you want. It's respect, all mixed up with envy. And that internal conflict, it is incredibly easy for other people to spot. Your words might be saying one thing, but your eyes, your tone of voice, they're telling a completely different story. You basically become a smiling threat. And let me tell you, nobody trusts a smiling threat. You know exactly what this looks like, right? It's that classic backhanded compliment, the praise that somehow includes a little dig or a comparison. It's that tense feeling you get when you're around someone you look up to, even while you're smiling. People feel that dissonance. They feel that conflict in you, and it immediately flags you as untrustworthy. So you have to fix this inside your own head. Figure out who triggers this feeling in you, and then make a clear choice. Either genuinely, humbly learn from them, or just disengage. Stop paying attention to them. Because that middle ground, that swamp of resentful admiration, that is the biggest crack in your wall. And that brings us to our third and final leak. And honestly, this one is pure self-sabotage. It's basically sending out an open invitation for people to challenge you. It's anticipatory doubt, literally accepting defeat before the fight even starts, or pehle se haar maan lena. This is when you broadcast your own lack of conviction before anyone else even gets a chance to question it. It's this subtle body language, this tone, that basically says, hey, I'm not totally sure about what I'm saying, so please feel free to poke holes in it. It's just an open invitation to attack. And think about how this shows up. You present a great idea, but your eyes are just scanning the room looking for approval. Or you start your sentences with things like, well, this might be a stupid idea, but... You start talking faster when you feel insecure. All of these little signals tell people that your position is weak and it's ready to crumble. So, how do you fix this? The antidote here is a game changer. Stop broadcasting the internal debate. You see, confidence isn't about the absence of doubt. It's about the refusal to show it. Present your ideas calmly, firmly. And when someone challenges you, don't immediately jump to defend yourself. Just use silence. Let the weight of their challenge hang in the air while you stay perfectly composed. Your steadiness, that's the real power. All right, so you've plugged the leaks, the eagerness, that conflicted admiration, and the anticipatory doubt. What happens now? You begin the transformation. You start becoming someone who is unreadable, or apathnia. And look, the difference is night and day. A readable person is just an open book. They're predictable, they're reactive, and they're pretty easy to manipulate. But an unreadable person, they're strategic. Their sheer presence commands respect because nobody knows for sure what their next move is. They don't react, they respond. So you're probably asking, okay, how do I actually do this? It really comes down to 3 steps. First, just become aware of your signals, your personal code. Second, learn to love silence. Use it as a weapon. It's a vacuum, and people will feel this incredible urge to fill it, and they'll often reveal their own cards in the process. And third, you build walls of behavior, a consistent, calm, controlled way of being that becomes your default setting. And this, right here, is the ultimate payoff. Mystery creates leverage. When people can't figure you out, they exhaust themselves trying. That uncertainty is tiring for them, and it gives you the space to observe, to plan, and to act when you're ready. They're busy playing checkers while you're playing chess. So at the end of the day, remember this. True power isn't about being loud or aggressive. It's about having this unshakable inner stability that just projects outward. It's about becoming the person who can stand in the middle of a fire, any pressure, any challenge, and not even blink. That's the person who can't be read. And therefore, that's the person who can't be easily defeated.